The scripture for this devotion is Hebrews, the 10th chapter, and verse 23. It says, "Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful." At first reading, this verse is saying we should be faithful to hold unswervingly to the hope we profess because God has been, is being, and will always be faithful to us. And we think of the many instances in our lives where we have not been faithful in living what we say we believe, yet God was always there for us, providing for our needs, guidance, and strength that we needed. Though many people make promises they don't keep, God is always faithful to do what He promises. His integrity never changes. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He who promised is faithful. What a comfort. But there is more to His faithfulness than His promises to do good. God is faithful to do whatever He says. This is also a warning in His reliability to be faithful in executing the consequences to discipline or punishment to us for our unfaithfulness. When God gave the law in His covenant with Israel, He promised great blessings if they chose to obey. They would be blessed with prosperity and livestock, their crops, food, healthy children, protection from enemies, and great wealth, feared by other nations. But He also made promises of great consequences if they failed to keep the covenant. All their efforts to have a good life would be cursed. They would be plagued with diseases, insects, defeat by their enemies, and so much more. And the Old Testament records God's faithfulness to keep both sets of His promises. Under the new covenant, God's faithfulness to His promises remains the same. Abundant blessings if we remain faithful, and lack of God's blessings and consequences for sinful behavior if we are unfaithful. The Apostle Paul explained the faithfulness of God to be both gracious to the obedient and just in His punishment to the disobedient. In his second letter to Timothy, he said, "Here's a trustworthy saying, if we died with Him, we will also live with Him. If we endure, we will also reign with Him. If we disown Him, He will disown us. If we are faithless, He will remain faithful. He cannot disown Himself. He will keep His promises, both of them." We're living in difficult times, and even more difficult times are coming. So let us hold unswervingly to the hope that we profess, for He who promised is faithful. He will do what He said.